Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 carry comp versus SIG P238, a concealed carry 380 ACP comparison. We're out at the beautiful Banner shooting range for another exciting, you guessed it, Bodyguard 2 carry comp video. In today's video, the carry comp is going head to head with one of the internet's favorite 380s. No, not that one, another one. The SIG P238. This is a 1911-ish single stack magazine fed external hammer fired pistol chambered in 380 ACP. Now there are some obvious differences between these firearms: striker fired, external hammer fired, single action only trigger, striker fired trigger, double stack capacity magazine, single stack capacity magazine. Though they're pretty similar in size. We'll show you a graphic of that. You may think, even though the Bodyguard 2 carry comp is the slightly longer pistol, shall we say, maybe fractionally taller, though with the P238 being all metal construction, save the hoe grip, this is actually the heavier firearm. So let's see if the heavier weight helps it absorb recoil better, or if that compensator on the Bodyguard 2 carry comp gives it less recoil compared to that all-metal P238. Some other things we're going to look at today in today's video are, besides the difference in recoil, is going to be the difference in trigger. How easy is it to shoot one-handed, both with your strong and your weak hand? And difference in things like the sights. Which one are we going to be more accurate with at the self-defense ranges? Kind of the basics, shall we say. Let's start today's video with our P238. And what I'm going to do is a single 7-round magazine at the center mass of the little blue UFO target, which is on the right today. We also have a green UFO, little green man. That's going to be the left-hand target for our Bodyguard 2 carry comp. So I'll do one magazine for each firearm at the corresponding target, and then we'll move on. Here we go, starting with the P238. We might have put a few hits in the, what we'll call the bullseye on that target. Maybe one in the green ring above the bullseye. Maybe one in the 7 ring, one in the 8 ring. It's a little hard to tell from back here. Target cam will help us out on that front. With the carry comp, one of the magazines today, we're finishing off a box of Blazer 95 grain full metal jacket brass ammo. One has 10, one has 11. I didn't have enough to fully load the P238 and the Bodyguard 2 carry comp magazines, so that will make do. While we won't have the 12 versus 7 for illustrating the differences in capacity, 10 or 11 versus 7 is going to get us close enough to that. So here we go, left-handed little green UFO target for our carry comp. Here we go. Okay, that must have been our 10-round magazine. From back here, it looks like all of our hits are in the 9 ring or better, with maybe 5 in that critical zone on that little green man UFO target. For our second magazines today, we're still going to aim at the center mass. What I'm going to do is, starting with the P238, we'll do one shot with our two-handed grip. And I'll do 3 shots right-handed, transition to left-handed, 3 shots left-handed, and we'll see if we can put any hits on the center mass of that target. I'll do the same sequence with the Bodyguard 2 carry comp, though because it'll have a 4-round advantage, the last 4 shots I'll do with my offhand two-handed grip. So here we go. It looks like I put 2 in the arm around the elbow, 1 in the armpit, and maybe a few in that 7 to 8 ring area on the right side of the target. I'm not sure where the first shot went. Let's see how it goes with our Bodyguard 2 carry comp at the right hand target. Here we go. I'm going to say similar groups. One, it would probably be in the arm, a few to the right in that 7 to 8 ring on the right side of the little green UFO target, 1 around the collarbone. I'm not sure where the rest went. Target cam will help us out on that front. I've reloaded our magazines. We have 7 in all 4 magazines of the Winchester Range and Target 95 grain full metal jacket. These, of course, have that round nose flat point ammo that some firearms aren't a fan of. Though from what I recall, all of these 2 firearms today don't have a problem with it. Our P238 weighing in at 15.2 ounces has something like a 4-ounce weight advantage or disadvantage, depending on how you want to look at it, against the 11.8 ounce Bodyguard 2 carry comp, though the Bodyguard 2 carry comp has that 3.1 inch barrel compared to, I think it's 2.7 inch barrel of our P238. What we're going to do with our next set of magazines, 1 magazine through each firearm, is I'm going to pay closer attention to the recoil. We're going to do point shooting at the cranium zone of each target, and I'm going to try to determine if either firearm has an advantage in terms of less felt recoil. Let's start again with our P238 at our right hand target. Here we go. One of those might have been a little low, one a little high. The rest looked like they were close to on target. Very manageable recoil. It's hard to say. Let me load 2 more in each magazine real quick. We'll reverse the order. We do 2 shots with the Bodyguard, 2 shots with the SIG. The recoil, very, very similar. It's hard for me to really give an advantage to one or the other. it feels like maybe the recoil is a little what we'll call quicker on the Bodyguard 2 carry comp than on the P238. But at least today, with the ammo we shot, I wouldn't give the advantage as far as more mild recoil one way or the other. To finish out the day, I have loaded 7 rounds in our magazines for each firearm. We have little 1.5-inch targets set up out there, our challenge targets as we call them. I'm going to do 7 shots with each firearm. The P238 will be at the right-hand target. The Bodyguard 2 carry comp will be at the left-hand target. And if for some reason with each firearm we don't put a hit on the target, I have a backup 7-round magazine ready to go for each because we don't want to leave these challenge targets untouched out there today. So here we go. P238 right-hand target. Well, the P238 has at least one at about 1 o'clock on the target, and maybe 3 total, not counting that one on the business card. Potentially more, but from back here, I can see 1 on the target, and we'll look like 3 on the business card. Let's see if we can match that with our Bodyguard 2 carry comp. Here we go. Okay, with the carry comp, it looks like we put 2 or 3 on the left edge of the business card. Though no hits, it looks like on the target zone. Good thing we got those backup magazines. Let's do another magazine of each firearm at that target. Here we go, starting with a SIG. See if it can increase its lead in the contest, shall we say. Okay, we might have put another 1 to 2 hits at 7 o'clock on the target with, it looks like, multiple hits on the business card. I don't think the carry comp can overtake it this point. But here we go. Carry comp at the left-hand target. Let's try to get one on that business card. Looks like we have one on the target at about 8 o'clock. Maybe a second one at 6 o'clock. We'll need target cam. And it looks like we put more hits again on the left edge of that business card. I have 4 rounds left. We might as well shoot 2 from each firearm to finish off this box. I even knocked the staple off the SIG target for an enhanced challenge. Alright, I'll do the Bodyguard 2 first with the last 2 from the box. Last 4 in the box, 2 from the Bodyguard. Here we go. We might have put one at about 1 o'clock on the target. I can't remember if that was already there. Might have put both, at least on the business card. Here we go, last two from the 238. Okay, I don't know. With the amount of impacts on that card, it's hard to tell from back here if we put any more hits on it. We'll use target cam to try to count them up here in the conclusion. Speaking of which, let's get to that conclusion now. In today's video, we again saw two excellent concealed carry personal protection firearms chambered in 380. And while they're both chambered in 380 and fairly similar in size, slight difference in a little bit longer in the length, taller for the Bodyguard 2.0, a little bit wider, heavier for that P238. Both are very concealable, such that if someone wants to wear them inside waistband or even in a pocket, there's probably not really any difference as far as the concealability or carryability between these two firearms. Though beyond that, there certainly are some minor and what I would call major differences between these two firearms. We'll start our discussion today with our P238. This is the 1911-ish pistol chambered in 380 ACP by SIG. It's not a true 1911. It doesn't have things like the grip safety that a traditional 1911 would have. And while that looks like a 1911 style trigger, it's not a 1911 trigger. It's a hinged trigger in single action only mode that just emulates the look of a 1911 trigger. Though other than that, if you squint, you kind of turn your head to the side, it looks very, very similar to just a scaled down 1911. This pistol, as I mentioned, it's a single action only external hammer fired pistol. It does have either a 6 or a 7 round capacity, depending on the magazines that you use. In today's video, we use the extended 7 round magazines that let you get a pinky, that have a pinky grip that lets you get more of a full hand grip on it for better control. Though if you're looking for maximum concealability, you can get, and I do have one, we just didn't use it today, the flush fit 6 round magazine for these firearms. The trigger pull weight on this comes in, at least off my gauge for this firearm, around 5.5 pounds, which is pretty good for a concealed carry personal protection pistol. Not the lightest trigger ever, though far from the heaviest trigger ever as well. It does have the SIG Night Sight 3-dot sight system, which, if you would ask me what my favorite sights are, it would be something like a fiber optic red sight with an anti-glare rear sight. Though second on the list would probably be just a traditional 3 white dot sight system, which, at least for me, helps me be pretty accurate with this P238 at self-defense ranges. Now this firearm, it does have an external thumb safety on the left side of the frame. Push up for safety on, down for safety off. And where some other people will be fans of this firearm, besides having a thumb safety, is the metal frame, the metal barrel, the metal slide. Those who aren't fans of what we'll call the polymer frame striker-fired pistols might gravitate a little more towards this P238 than they would say our Bodyguard 2. Recently this year, the price has come down slightly on these what we'll call non-fancy looking P238s, such that you maybe find them for about $50 more in that $500, $550 ballpark, maybe $600 depending on your store, compared to years ago when they were a little more expensive. That price drop, they're much closer in price now to something like the Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp, with it being about $100 more expensive compared to the original version, meaning those who have that $500 price point in their budget are probably going to be looking at both these firearms. So again, those who want a non-polymer, non-striker fired pistol may gravitate more towards this P238 than they did our Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp. Make sure our safety's on. Let's transition our discussion to that Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp. Now our Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp is the updated version of the Bodyguard 2. It has that compensated slide with ported barrel. Barrel's about 3/10 of an inch longer than on the original version. And as we saw in our recent velocity test series, that gave it on average 30 to 40 feet per second difference compared to the original Bodyguard 2. Interestingly enough, compared to firearms with a slightly longer barrel, like say our G42, and some other firearms in that same barrel length that are non-ported, this actually had the highest velocity on average compared to the Bodyguard 2, the SIG P365, though it wasn't by much. Most people would probably say, while there was a slight advantage in velocity for the Bodyguard 2 carry comp, not really enough to make a difference. Now this firearm, it does have the polymer framed lower that some people will like, some people won't like. It is a lighter firearm compared to our P238 by a few ounces, which to some people they'll see that as an advantage, to others a disadvantage. One big advantage of this firearm over the P238 is in capacity. You can get 10 and 12 round magazines for it, giving you a slight to a significant capacity advantage over that P238. In terms of recoil, while I find that the compensated slide and ported barrel give this a lighter felt recoil compared to, say, the original Bodyguard 2, and certainly over firearms like the LCPs and the LCP Maxes, compared to the heavier 1911 style firearm of our P238 today, I was really unable to tell a difference in terms of which one has more felt recoil. Bodyguard might have slightly faster recoil in terms of the recoil impulse, though I don't know, on a different day would I say that same thing? I have no idea. Though they were so close to where, even with the advantage of that ported barrel and compensated slide, I feel like the extra mass of the P238 put it on the same level as recoil for these, such that these two firearms essentially had the same recoil. Now, as far as triggers go, while our Bodyguard 2 carry comp has a slightly lighter trigger pull weight in that 3 pounds 1 ounce range off my gauge, it's a slightly longer trigger pull with a longer travel distance to the reset with a little bit more take up there as well. Now, while the trigger on our P238, again, it looks like a 1911 trigger, but it's really not a 1911 trigger. It does have a shorter reset point with less travel. And while it does have slightly more on the trigger pull weight, because it has less travel, less take up, it felt like the trigger on this was actually better compared to our Bodyguard 2 carry comp, at least in my opinion, though they're pretty close to each other in terms of usability, I would say. In terms of accuracy between these two firearms, I believe in today's video we saw a clear advantage at the self-defense range targets for our P238. While we did put good enough hits from both firearms for what I would call a self-defense range engagement, there was a clear advantage in terms of the precision and accuracy today from our P238. Now, some of that you can probably chalk up to I'm just a fan more of the 3-dot sight system than I am of the sights on our Bodyguard 2 carry comp. So even though the Bodyguard 2 carry comp has the updated sights compared to the original Bodyguard 2, they're still not my favorite sights, and I would prefer something like a plain 3 white dot sight system, actually, which seems a little bit weird, but it is what it is. So when it comes down to it, while we have two excellent concealed carry firearms, they're going to be at a similar price point. This one you'll find around that $500 price point. This one maybe at that $550 price point, but close enough to where if you're going to look at one, you're probably considering between both of them to decide which one is better. So on one hand, if you're a fan of a striker-fired pistol with a double-stack magazine-fed capacity, and maybe you like the look of the compensated barrel, you might gravitate towards the Bodyguard 2 carry comp. Though if you want something that's metal frame, metal slide, metal barrel, looks a little like a 1911, accurate, reliable, in that same $500-ish price point, you may gravitate towards the P238. It's hard to go wrong with either one. Both certainly are excellent concealed carry personal protection 380s. Well, anyway, that seems like the perfect spot to end today's video. If you enjoyed today's presentation, like the video, share it with your friends and family. Those things are free, and they really help the channel greatly. If you didn't enjoy today's presentation, yeah, like the video anyway. It helps us out a lot, and no one's going to know that you did it. Fred and I really appreciate you getting this far. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a nice night. Are you ready for your French fry?
Oh, hey, those are my French fries. This one's yours.
Are you have some tasting it today, Frederick?
Oh, he's chewing it. He's not actually just like swallowing it right down. It must be good. Must be good, huh? All right. Lunchtime.